Craig Parker here, Parker's Property Sourcing. Just coming at you with another video today. And today's video is going to be about the big EPC U-turn for 2025. Before we get into it, might be teaching you how to suck eggs, but I'm going to say it anyway. So if you don't know what EPC means, it's Energy Performance Certificate of your property, basically. So it basically measures the energy performance of your property. Every property has one. The rule is that it needed to be rated C. As a landlord, your property needed to be a rating C by 2025, and it was a big panic basically with all the property owners and landlords. The media pushed it really hard. Tradesmen pushed their prices up to on getting improvements done because landlords were rushing to get the upgrades done. Then all of a sudden, the government changed its mind and they've paused the plan. So this is like breaking news, basically, this video. They've paused the plan. So the real story is, just because the headline has been delayed, it doesn't mean that nothing's happening. So the rule is being introduced, but it's just going to be introduced a little bit later. What is the rule? The rule is your property needs to be a EPC rating C or above in order for you to legally rent out your property. Yeah? So it is being introduced, so we can't ignore it. If we ignore it, it will damage your cash flow when the rule actually comes into place, because if you have tenants in there and it's not an EPC rating C, you're actually renting out the property illegally. So you really, bear it in mind. It's not happening right now in 2025, but it is still going to happen. So this is just a video today on more of an update on, that it still needs to be done and everybody needs to get their property compliant and up to standard, but it's not happening this year by the looks of things. So originally the plan was all new tenancies must be EPC rating C by 2025 and all existing tenancies must be EPC rating C by 2028. So if that actually would have gone through, landlords with older properties like the Victorian terrace houses would have faced big refurbishment bills basically. Lots of landlords actually started selling off their properties because of it. And like I said in the previous clip, tradesmen were quoting silly money because of the panic, which, business is business, I guess. But the important point is that the EPC rating C legislation never became a law. So anyone still saying you must have EPC right now at a level C is actually wrong, because the law didn't come in, basically. Luckily. It still may come in, though. So here's the U-turn, yeah? And here's where it stands today as I make this video. The minimum EPC to rent out your property is still an E. Yeah? So EPC C rating is not currently a legal requirement. So the pressure on landlords has definitely eased. But, and I'm going to say it's a big but, if your property falls below an E at any point, you cannot legally rent it out unless you register for an exemption. Again, if you want me to go into more details about registering for exemptions and stuff like that, I can make a separate video, but who wants to be doing that, to be honest, registering for an exemption if your property falls below an EPC rating E? It shouldn't be. And this is what I think is coming next. And this is where we have to start being mindful and being very careful. Many properties will slip backwards without the landlords doing anything wrong. And that's where landlords are really, they're missing out on here. So what are current landlords missing, you ask? And this is the bit where the news isn't really explaining it clearly, and I'll try and break it down for you. So in June 2025, the government changed the EPC scoring system, yeah? The EPC scoring system is basically the formula that decides your EPC rating, yeah? So things that will now have more of an impact on the rating from June 2025 are how modern and efficient the heating system is, or how well insulated the building fabric is, smart thermostats and energy controls. Yeah, so they'll have an impact. Some EPC ratings will go up, but a lot are expecting to drop. So it's like buying a property and EPC rating is a D. It could next year drop down to an E, meaning you now got a compliance issue in your property that you didn't expect. It could be legal risks, it could be forced costs to upgrade, reduce the property value. Yeah, so you got to start to be mindful of things like this. So I'll run through it again, just in case you forgot. They're now looking at how modern and efficient the heating and the heating system is, how well insulated the building fabric is, and are smart thermostats and energy controls installed in the property. So right now, the smart move would be to de-risk your future rental income. Yeah? And how can you do that? Well, first of all, you can try and get your properties or your property, target it to get to an EPC rating C as quickly as possible. Yeah? As close to it or as quickly as possible. I would say budgeting upgrades in advance. So if you are looking to buy or you are looking to do refurbs on your current properties, that's not a bad idea, but make sure that you're budgeting or putting in your return on your investment or in your budget ways that will improve the EPC rating, which we spoke about in the previous clip, which is important. And obviously, investing in high demand areas is always a good thing to do anyway. And I thought I'd add that in there. But we just got to make sure that when we're buying in these high demand areas, we're looking at the properties in a way of saying, can we get that property to an EPC rating C or higher at a good cost? Or is it already an EPC rating C or higher? You know, but putting upfront budgeting costs for that makes so much sense when running your numbers now, I would say. So my final message would be to you guys today on this video is, yes, the government has U-turned on the fast EPC rating C deadline, but landlords watching this or that know the news, which I'm sure you keeping yourself in the know will know the news, that think they're safe, they're missing a bigger shift, yeah? So EPC rules are not going away. Tenants still want, energy efficient homes, which I think is fair, because so do I. And lenders will start favouring higher EPC ratings. So lenders will also start asking what the EPC rating is on the property that you're trying to mortgage. Imagine that. And the new scoring system could force upgrades anyway. So my advice would be to you guys in this video, watching this video, the breathing space that we've been given, I would say use it to get ahead, not to fall behind. So let's try and get all of our properties that we own or our future properties up to an EPC rating C. So when the rule comes in, we're already ahead of the game, you know? And that is it for today. Really hope you've enjoyed this video. I've been Craig Parker. Till next time.